Thank you for joining us for the League of Women Voters School Board Candidate Forum. My name is Jim Ross, Managing Editor of the Ocala Star-Banner. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization founded in 1920 by men and women who believed everyone has the right to vote. The vision of the Marion County League is to grow a community of informed voters. The mission of the Marion County League is to encourage informed and active participation in government, work to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influence public policy through education and advocacy. A committee began work in March, examining areas of interest and formulating questions for the candidates. We hope that you find the questions and the responses informative and helpful in making your decisions. I will ask each question to the candidates by district in alphabetical order. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question and will be signaled with 30 seconds remaining. All qualified candidates running for office were invited to attend today. Ed Wilson, District 5, is not in attendance.
District 3,
I'm sorry, District 3. As you watch and listen to this forum, think ahead. Ask yourself which issues are most important to you and jot down what you'd like to learn from each of the candidates. Ask yourself, are they answering the question? Pay attention to how the candidates answer the questions. Are they specific, sincere, knowledgeable? Keep track of topics. Are the candidates being asked about your priority issues? Are the questions fair and pertinent? Jot down your observations. Talk it out. Afterwards, talk about the forum with your friends and family. Did the forum sway your decision? Did you learn something new about the candidate's position? Vote this August. It is your best opportunity to make your voice heard and help to shape the issues that affect all of us. Before we begin the questions, we will review some general information about the school board itself. The vision of the Marion County School Board is developing successful citizens, every student, every day. The Marion County School Board is responsible for the organization and control of the public schools, determining the policies necessary for effective operations of the schools and general improvements of the school system. There are 5 nonpartisan members on the school board. Members must live in the district they represent. They are elected to 4-year terms and meet as a board twice a month. 3 of the 5 members are up for election this year, Districts 3, 4, and 5. Salaries for board members are set at $37,729 plus health insurance. The salaries are set by state statute based on county population, and the statute gives local boards the authority to lower the salary. We will start with candidates for the District 3 seat. They are Bobby James, Jane Morley, Jim Touchton. As I mentioned earlier, Ed Wilson is not in attendance. The first series of questions will deal with Marion County's performance in comparison to other districts within Florida. Since 2010-11, based on FCAT scores, Marion schools slipped from 44th to 50th out of Florida's 67 counties. Mr. James, what are 3 primary reasons for Marion County's drop in statewide ranking? What are 3 actions the school board can take to reverse this trend?
Would you repeat the question again, please?
Certainly. What are 3 primary reasons for Marion County's drop in statewide ranking? And what are 3 actions the school board can take to reverse this trend?
Ross, that's a good question. And just let me take a few minutes to just give you a little history now. I've had, in my experience, I have worked at all 3 levels: elementary, secondary, and alternative ed. And some of the things that I would like to remind our voters is that the poverty level in this county is really high. If you look at some of the things that are occurring, we look at some of, at the schools that are dealing with this particularly with the low scores. Some of them are around 71% free and reduced lunch. So that have a direct reflection on our test scores. When I look at what we were doing, we introduced a strategic plan that I felt was not completely followed. And when I said strategic plan, it was designed by the district, and it was not completely followed through. I feel very strongly that we have to monitor what we do with our kids prior to them taking the test per se. And so when I look at what we're talking about here, it's important that we give the teachers what they need in order to make them understand how important the extra things that we do, whether it's after school or not. One of the things I will say to you, the key to us improving our test score is for us to monitor what we do. And I will introduce a balanced scorecard that will let us know every quarter what our kids are doing, what our funds are being spent for, and if we are focused in on this on our strategic plan. And this is one of the most important things, is to make sure our funds are being used to enhance the students' test scores. I have to smile a little bit because of looking at the clock.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. James. Ms. Morley, on your campaign website, you state that you want Marion County to be the #1 ranked school district in Florida, and that you are prepared to take pioneering steps to get there. What are 3 of your pioneering steps?
First of all, I would like to have a shared vision where we all have an ideal school, a shared vision with the community, with the school board, with the parents, with the principal, with the teachers, so everybody involved in the school system and the community to have a shared vision to where we find out what our ideal school is. Without knowing what our ideal school is, we don't have a direction. There is no vision. And if you have leadership without a vision, knowing where you want to go, you will be able to identify the areas of problems that are within the school system. And secondly, accountability. We need to have measures of, we need to be able to measure the results based on the vision that we have put in place, that we have agreed upon. Okay, this is our vision, this is where we are going. And these are the things that we will do to hold each and every member accountable towards that vision. So implementing and developing strategic plans to fix our public school system is very, very imperative. We keep putting fires out, and we're not looking at what really is causing those fires. And secondly, communication. Respect, communication, and making sure that we agree upon, we can disagree, but how do we disagree? We all should have a focus, and that should be to prioritize academic excellence for each and every student. And that's, I believe, so shared vision, accountability, and communication is very, very important to me.
Thank you, Ms. Morley.
Thank you.
Mr. Touchton, one of the elements of your 3D plan of develop, defend, deliver is to deliver a high-quality roadmap for educational success. Define your high-quality roadmap for educational success, and what are the first 3 steps in accomplishing this?
All right. First, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for providing this forum and getting the word out to the community that can't attend the live forums. As far as delivering, what I see happening is a lot of the focus of what's going on with the school system is test. I have an engineering degree, worked as an engineer, worked on manufacturing lines, and you learn relatively quick that you cannot test quality into a product. You can't take something that's already done and test information into it. You have to build the information into it. To apply that to schools and to education, you have to actually teach the kids what they need to know, not teach them how to take the test. Even though test taking skills are important, because I have 2 children that have test anxiety, but FCAT and Common Core and all these big high-stakes tests, they not only drive up the anxiety level of the students, but they drive up the anxiety level of the teachers, of the administration. We need to focus more on education. What do these children need to know? What do they need to learn? Do they know how to think critically? Do they know how to read for content, understand the questions? Do they understand that not everything in a question is necessarily dealing with the answer that's being asked? We need to build a commitment to our kids, to our families. It's just something that I think's lacking. We need to have the focus. Education needs to be the focus. That's where we need to focus, the classroom. We deliver that. We deliver equipment. We deliver curriculum. We deliver whatever it is. And I'm not anti-test. Let me tell you, as a teacher, you do test. You take a benchmark. You find out where the student is, where the students are. You figure out what's missing. You already understand where they're supposed to be at the end of the year. Then you build your roadmap. What do I need to cover? What do I need to teach? What do I need to repeat? And then at the end of the year, you test and find out what happened. Hopefully, they've learned it. And doing that and having the integrity to stand by your decisions and what you're doing long enough to see it work.
Thank you, Mr. Touchton. This next series of questions will deal with testing and curriculum. Mr. James, in an interview reported in the Ocala Star-Banner, you said that you joined the school board just as the national recession hit and that the district has been strapped for money during your 7 years in office. You are quoted as saying, quote, "I'm hoping in the next 4 years we will have more opportunities to get some needed programs off the ground." If the voters add another 4 years to your current 7 years on the school board, what specific programs are you referring to, quote, getting off the ground, unquote? And do you count art, music, PE, and libraries among them?
You know, my experience as an educator, it's so important that we have a complete child when they finish the school system. Music, art, PE, media, and vocational training is so important because that completes the child. As my colleague has said, testing is not the only thing that we do, but that's the thing that we are graded on in the state of Florida. The thing that I'd like to say about what we're doing, we are the 5th by Forbes magazine. We are 5th as the 5th best place in the nation to find jobs that are growing and finding jobs. That's what I'm getting at. We as a school district must be prepared to work in that arena to provide our students the opportunity to be competitive for the job. One of the things that I am very high on, one of the things that I bought here was a drop back in program, which where we would bring kids back into our school in all of our different areas in the county. We brought them back in and they graduated high school. One of the key things that I would like to bring to this district is a vocation program at each one of our high schools, an academy. An academy is designed specifically to provide industry certification for our kids when they leave. A specific vocational and technical program at each one of our schools. The next thing I would like to do, I would like to bring MTI and CTAE under a single administration. So we would have a focus on our vocational training and vocational programs in the county. All of our kids are not going to go to college, but we need to provide them an opportunity to be able to make a living in this environment. And we are one of the fastest growing, counties in the state of Florida and the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James.
I get excited about that one.
I understand. Ms. Morley, one of the actions listed on your website is to, quote, improve curriculum and reduce standardized testing. Please explain what you can do as a school board member to improve curriculum and what 2 standardized tests you would eliminate and why.
To improve the curriculum, I would evaluate the current systems that are in place and ask the teachers to to give us a report, what works and what does not work. We are spending so much money in programs that may not be working for the students. And who best to ask is the teachers to find out which programs works and which does not. And secondly, I would invest more money into libraries and promote reading. Because one of the things that the kids are failing is reading. And if a child is not proficient in reading and writing, libraries are very needed. And we can't tell them what to read. We can ask them, okay, these are the things that are mandatory that you need to read, but we need to promote the child's interest. If that child is interested in reading a certain book, we should allow that child to read. We cannot tell a child what to read. And secondly, stop social promotions. Children are being promoted that are not proficient in for their next level. If that child is not ready for the next level, stop that. Really promote the child when that child is ready and that child is equipped for the next grade. What was your next question? I apologize.
What 2 standardized tests you would eliminate and why?
2 standardized tests. FCAT is gone.
Yes.
Definitely. Common Core is not the solution. I would rather see a local self-directed testing system. We need testing. And we need to know, I would like to see where the child is from the beginning as he enters the school up to the end of the year. And the teacher need to evaluate based on improvement.
Okay, thank you. Common Core State Standards is an educational initiative in the United States that details what K-12 students should know in English and math at the end of each grade. It is sponsored by the National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers. It seeks to establish consistent standards across the states and ensure high school graduates are prepared to enter either college or the workplace. Mr. Touchton, given your current position as a classroom teacher, what is your opinion on the implementation of Common Core standards and why?
All right, my opinion of the implementation of Common Core standards in a nutshell is it was implemented incorrectly. The National Governors Association and the other association that created these are private organizations. They're not governmental bodies. And I believe that the national government, the federal government, through their Department of Education, coerced is probably too strong of a word, but enticed the State Department of Education through grants and funding to accept Common Core. I agree that as a nation, we probably should have some kind of consistency, but having a national curriculum does not guarantee improvement. It's shown in the PISA testing that a lot of the countries that are scoring better than us don't have a national curriculum. And my understanding of the Constitution is that the states have the responsibility of education, and I think that should stay with the states. I think that each state legislature should feel obligated to do the best they can for their citizenry and their children. And if that means cooperating with the other states, we've been doing it for over 200 years. Sometimes we don't do a very good job of it, but I believe that's the way we do it. Another problem I have with Common Core, my understanding is we have to accept the entire package. The Sunshine State Standards, there were some that were better than, at least the agreement was they were better than Common Core. There's some Common Core standards as written that were better than what we had. We weren't allowed to pick or choose. It was to take it all or leave it, which I don't think should be appropriate. We should be able to choose the best that we can for our children. And that type of implementation, a take it or leave it attitude, I think is incorrect, and I think we should have more of a say and more of what we think is best for our kids.
Okay, thank you very much. This series of questions will address issues dealing with teachers and their salaries. According to a June 2013 WUFT report, Florida teachers' salaries ranked 45th nationally with an average salary of $46,000. The same year in Marion County, the average teacher with a doctorate degree and 5 years of experience earned $44,257. In Florida, half of a teacher's evaluation is based on a value-added measure, VAM, score, which is derived from student FCAT scores. This measure affects a teacher's eligibility for merit pay increases. Mr. James, during your time on the school board, out of the 67 counties in Florida, Marion County rankings have slipped from 44th to 50th. Should the pay of school board members be decreased to reflect this drop in district rankings? Why or why not?
In reference to the value added module, let me just say this now. I feel very strongly that teachers should be evaluated on students that they come in contact with. And when I say that, you got a whole school out there, and the teachers should not be evaluated on all the students in the school. I feel very strongly in reference to where we are in reference to teacher pay. And this is why I am very for the 1 cent ad valorem tax, to make sure that we have funding that can take care of the things that we really need to in reference to music, art, and PE. But I also want to make sure that we have an opportunity to pay our teachers for what they're worth. My son is a teacher over in Gainesville. You know, there's no difference actually we pay more than what he's getting in Gainesville. But the thing, I feel very strongly that we as a county have to invest in the greatest equalizer in this country, which is public education. And I know that as a community, we have to value what our teachers do. And when I think in terms of evaluating them, we will be evaluated by test scores, by the number of kids that will graduate from a high school, how many kids that will be industry certified. We will do that. We will evaluate all of those teachers and all of the community on those items. But the key to the whole thing is that we have to be competitive, and we have to pay our teachers a higher salary. And how do we do that? Business people need to get involved with what we're doing. The ordinary citizen need to voice their opinion about what we pay our teachers. And once again, salary is not the only thing that make a great teacher. Our teacher make a building come alive.
Okay. I'm afraid I'll have to cut you off there, Mr. James. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Morley, on your website, you state as one of your actions, quote, all high-quality educators should be retained. What role does a school board member play in identifying high-quality educators?
I would like to, first of all, again, going to my shared vision, I would like to have the teachers involved. The school and this administration need to be on the same level when it comes to a shared vision. What is it that you want your ideal school to be? And what was the question again?
How does a school board member help identify high-quality educators?
Okay. As a high-quality educator, once you share in the vision, you will take ownership in that vision. And based on any improvement up, we should be able to hold each and every teacher accountable for what our objective is. We should be able to untie their hands and give them the tools that they need to educate our students. Any improvement up, I feel if you have chosen to be a profession, to be a teacher in a public education system, you have a compassion there. It's a service job, and we will pay you